The sun was sinking low across the Wyoming plains, painting the horizon in shades of crimson and gold. Dust clung to the air like ghosts of 1,000 cattle drives, and silence stretched out in the endless fields of dry grass. Silence, except for a sound that tore through the dusk, a ragged, desperate voice. "Please," the woman cried, her words cracking with pain. "I am begging you. Untie it." She lay stretched out on the ground, her wrists and ankles bound to 4 posts hammered into the earth. Her white dress was torn and dirtied, streaked with blood and sweat. Each breath seemed like it might be her last. A horse whickered nearby, shifting uneasily, its reins dangling as if it, too, sensed the gravity of the moment. And standing above her was the rancher. He was a tall man, his shoulders broad from years of breaking horses and splitting rails, his face shadowed by the brim of his weathered hat. In one hand, he gripped the length of rope that tied the woman down. In the other, nothing, just hesitation. Just the weight of tradition pressing down on him heavier than any cattle herd. For in his family, there was a legacy, passed down through generations of ranchers. Justice was never given swiftly, never with mercy. The code of the plains was harsh, and when someone broke it, when a stranger trespassed, stole, or betrayed, they were dealt with in ways outsiders would never understand. But this woman, bound and broken, was no thief, no outlaw, no bandit that had raided a ranch. She was something else entirely, and the rancher knew it. He looked down at her and froze. His father's voice echoed in his mind, gravelly and merciless. "Never break tradition, son. Mercy is weakness. Weakness gets you killed." The rancher swallowed hard, his throat dry. He remembered the times he had seen punishment carried out without hesitation. Neighbors strung up, drifters left to rot, justice dealt swift and brutal. And yet now, staring at this woman's eyes, wide and pleading, he felt something stir deep inside of him. Her words weren't just begging for freedom, they were begging for humanity. He took a step closer, boots crunching on dry earth. She flinched, her breath quickening. "You don't have to do this," she whispered, tears streaking down her face. "You're not your father." That was when his hand trembled. For the first time in his life, the weight of tradition felt like chains on his own wrists. He looked at the rope, then at the horse, then back to her. The plains stretched silent, and the wind whispering through the grass like a warning. And still he stood there, frozen. What choice could he make? What price would he pay if he chose mercy over tradition? As the last light of the sun slipped below the horizon, the rancher knew one thing. Whatever he decided tonight would change everything. Forever. And if you're drawn into this story, if you want to ride further into the wild unknown with tales of the Old West, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Each story takes you deeper into the dust, the danger, and the choices that defined a world gone by. Saddle up with us, you won't regret it. Darkness came swiftly, blanketing the plains in cold shadow. Coyotes yipped in the distance, their calls sharp against the silence. The woman's breathing grew shallower, her strength slipping away with each passing second. The rancher's chest rose and fell in heavy rhythm, his hand still clenched around the rope. But then, in a moment that would echo across generations, he loosened his grip. His fingers uncurled, slow and deliberate, and he dropped the rope into the dirt. Tradition snapped like brittle timber in that instant. He fell to his knees beside her, his calloused hands working quickly to untie the knots. The ropes were tight, cutting into her skin, but he pulled with a strength born of conviction. "You'll be all right," he muttered, though he wasn't sure if he was trying to convince her or himself. The woman gasped as her arms came free, blood rushing back into her hands. Tears streaked her face, but this time, they weren't only of fear, they carried hope. She looked at him as though he was something rare in this harsh land. A man who chose compassion over cruelty. But choices have consequences. A sound carried through the night, a distant whistle, sharp and piercing. The rancher froze again, but this time it wasn't hesitation. It was dread. He knew that sound. His brothers were coming, men who had never once broken tradition, men who would see his mercy as betrayal. And in the Wild West, betrayal was punished by blood. He yanked the last rope free, pulling the woman to her feet. "We don't have long," he said, his voice urgent now. She stumbled, weak from her ordeal, but his arm was steady, guiding her toward the waiting horse. "They'll kill you for this," she whispered, fear cutting through her voice. He didn't look at her, didn't let his resolve falter. "Then let them try." He lifted her onto the saddle, the leather creaking beneath her weight, then swung up behind her, gripping the reins tight. The horse sensed the urgency and snorted, pawing at the dirt. Behind them, lanterns flickered in the darkness. Growing closer, voices carried on the wind. "Go!" the rancher barked, and the horse bolted into the night, hooves pounding against the earth like war drums. The plains stretched before them, endless and uncertain. Each stride carried them further from tradition, further into danger and further into freedom. The woman clung to him, her heart pounding against his back. As the rancher rode with a fire in his chest he had never known before, for the first time he was not his father's son. He was his own man, and he would carve a new TI, reddition, one forged in mercy, not in cruelty. The chase would come. The danger would follow. But the choice had been made, and in the Wild West, sometimes one man's choice was enough to light a spark that could burn down an empire. If this story gripped you, if you felt the weight of the rancher's choice and the fire of the chase, don't just ride away. Subscribe to the channel and stay in the saddle with us. More tales of the Wild West await, stories of grit, of heart, of choices that echo forever. Hit that subscribe button and join the journey. You won't want to miss what's coming next.